Good evening, everybody. Happy Saturday. Hope you're enjoying a nice start to the weekend and some really good college football today. But forget about the college football. Let's talk about our Kings, the Denver Nuggets in town at the Golden One Center to take on the Kings tonight. Denver actually on a back-to-back. They won in Phoenix last night. So the defending champs coming into town. Can Sacramento step up to the champs level and get back on track with a win tonight on their home court? This is the pregame show on If You Don't Like That.
3, 2, 1, go.
Sacramento missed you. Carter, stolen by Williams. And look at this. Oh, you don't like that. You don't like NBA basketball. Fox, goodbye. Oh, if you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball. The exclamation point from De'Aaron Fox. Oh, if you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball.
Boy, that's an ESPN highlight right there. Whoa. Carlson comes in. How about this? Holy moly, Jim Bob Bowley. That is a major league smush.
And welcome back in. I appreciate y'all being here tonight. Ryan and Sacktown here to get you ready for the Kings and the Nuggets. We've got coverage all night tonight for you here on If You Don't Like That. Grant and Jerry Reynolds will be here at halftime. Looking forward to that. And Grant and I will wrap up the game afterwards with the post-game show as normal. So get your comments in here. You guys are the biggest part of this show. Want to get your thoughts on the game, how you see it going tonight. I mean, this is a big matchup for Sacramento. This is one of those games that you'd really like to see them get on their home court, coming off of a very, very rough performance against the Clippers. I mean, back to back, I know people are saying, let's lay off the tired talk, but you know, there was a lot of extra energy expelled that night before against Golden State. So let's see if they get back on track. They get Keegan Murray back tonight. Let's talk some injuries really quick, actually, while we have a moment and see your guys' comments. We'll get to those here in just 1 minute. But Keegan Murray returning to the lineup for the Kings. He has no minutes restrictions. So great game to have Keegan back tonight. You really needed him, especially with some of the perimeter play and big guys that Denver has. I mean, we all know about Jokic, but some of the other guys that rotate through that lineup and are part of that championship thread, they're special too. So we can talk a little bit more about them, but Keegan, that's the big news. He's back in the lineup. And so I know some of you probably checked like ESPN and you saw Trey Lyles is out, right? And we all had the same reaction. What's going on? So it was actually a mistake when they were entering the injury status or updates into the system. So he is good to go. Trey Lyles is playing. Now for Denver, Jamal Murray, he is not playing. He will miss tonight's game. That's huge for the Kings. Denver, their entire stat line and their entire brand of basketball changes without Jamal Murray. Now, that doesn't mean that they are still not extremely good without him, but he is so important to what they do. And I mean, it goes without saying, him and Jokic, just a amazing 1-2 punch, probably the best 1-2 punch in the NBA. And you got to think Sabonis and Fox, they're right there. They're towards the top of that list as well. And I mean, what separates those two groups? Well, one, a championship, but probably two, consistency. I think that's the big word that comes to mind when I compare those two groups. But anyways, getting back to Denver and their injury updates, it looks like Aaron Gordon is going to be a game time decision. He sat out against Phoenix last night, again, Denver on the second night of a back-to-back. So both of them were getting some shots up before the game, but Aaron will be a game time decision. Maybe there's a newer update on that since we have come on air, because I'm paying attention to your comments, getting you ready for the game. So let's get some of you in here. Ninerwood, Sacramento, absolutely. Ash, what is going on? Happy to have you. Let's see, watching from Manila. Nice. And very nice. Appreciate that. Philippines checking in, no doubt. Thank you. I'm glad you love the show. This is your guys' show. We get to kind of kick things around before the big dogs come in, Grant and Jerry at halftime, and then Grant and I after the game. Baki, my man, how are you doing? Get to your comment in a second. Cameron, yes, no Jamal Murray. Aaron Gordon, game time decision, just touched on that. Thanks for reinforcing it. Baki, my Kings brothers, against the Serbian MVP Joker Rhino. 30 people at one on one place here. Half of them Denver fans. Can you guys imagine? Okay, Baki, you guys are doing it right over there. Okay. Yeah, I can imagine. That's one that's right down the middle for you. You got to cheer on your hometown boys, but you got to cheer on your Kings too. So this is King's house right here, Baki. So we respect the Denver fans, but this is the Kings house. We're going to cheer for them tonight. But Denver, a lot to cheer about if you're a Denver fan. I know they've gone through a little bit of a rough streak of basketball, but they've gotten back on track with no issues, and they roll into Sacramento rolling. And it's a shame Jamal Murray for them is not going to be getting back. He was slowly getting things going, coming back from that knee injury, but they're being conservative with them. And I guess this will take Jamal Murray into an extended break. So good for the Kings, bad if you are a Nuggets fan. So Dobro Utro, what is up? I am a big dog. Thank you. Appreciate that, Drought. Really appreciate it. Gordon is playing now. So there's our update right there. Yeah, doesn't surprise me that Gordon's playing. And that front line between Michael Porter Jr., Gordon, Jokic, it's incredibly difficult to guard. And this is one of those games where you're really going to get to see the best of Sabonis, because in so many ways, Sabonis and Jokic have a lot of similarities, but certainly Jokic, if you were starting the franchise today, he would be the number one pick out of those two. But the way their games play off of each other, I think it's going to be a really special matchup. And I'm interested to see how Sacramento handles the switching as well, if they're very intentional about how they play that and who they want to have on Jokic. Trey Lyles, is he an option? Absolutely. Even though he is marked as out, Trey Lyles is playing. That was a clerical error, so I want to make sure we clear the air there. But and then how does Vezenkov work in tonight on the front line? I mean, what's those matchups look like for him? I think he's going to have a tough time defensively because of the length, and those guys are a little bit more powerful than he is. But can he give the Kings good minutes? Harrison Barnes, can he be consistent? We always talk about Barnes. We talk about Keegan Murray, who is back tonight. We talk about Chris Duarte, who is starting, Kevin Huerter. All these guys that just aren't being consistent for Sacramento. And, Mike Brown's talking about the way that Foxy and Sabonis allow him to coach them, allows Mike to coach the rest of the team in the same manner, in terms of everybody's going to get coached hard. But this is one of those games where you have to look at the front of your team, the top of your team, your Sabonis's, your Foxes, and it's got to be a concerted effort. It has to be a game plan that is very clear and executed to a T, because if Denver gets out to a big start in this game, it's going to be a difficult thing for the Kings to come back, regardless of their three-point shooting, because Denver, they're a different class above many of the other teams that Sacramento have played tonight. And you'll notice that just in the smoothness of their offense. You'll notice that in their personnel and how they understand each other, how they cut off of each other, the communication. It's just a well-oiled machine. And, they have a hard time. They have a hard task tonight with De'Aaron Fox not going to have Jamal Murray across from him. But at the same time, that means De'Aaron needs to be twice as aggressive, trying to get at whoever is going to be stepping up in that spot. And it could be a number of players for Denver. I know Reggie Jackson. Think about this. Good old Reggie Jackson, still in the NBA and playing some of the best basketball that he has played in a really long time. And probably about the max, too, that you're going to get out of Reggie Jackson. He was on the injury list as questionable. So, is that a guy that you go after? But you got to guard him too. He is sneaky good and has been filling it up for Denver in pretty big minutes. I mean, 20 to 25 minutes. So all these little things we're looking at as the Kings get ready tonight to take on the Denver Nuggets from Golden One Center in Sacramento. The defending champions roll into town before Monday night's game, which will be the quarterfinals game in the NBA in-season tournament. The quest for the NBA Cup. Kings will be hosting the Pelicans in that one. But before we get to that, we got to look at tonight and Denver here in town, the NBA champions. So let's get some more of your questions in. Loving all this, getting some updates on who is in, who is out, and some confirmation. So really appreciate that. Ricky's walking into the G1C. Nice. Let's take it to the champs. Absolutely. Ricky, you got to get that crowd fired up tonight. That crowd was tired against the Clippers, but Saturday night, it should be rocking for the Kings, and take advantage of that crowd for sure. I mean, I know Denver has a home advantage because of the elevation in which they play at, but the noise that Sacramento fans can cause in the arena, and just when it starts rocking, when that electricity starts shooting through that place, it is a tough ask when you are a road team to keep your heads on straight and be able to communicate clearly. Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah, the hips are doing good, and just working my way back. In fact, be doing a lot of walking here in the next couple days. Going to be taking a quick vacation down to San Diego with the family. So be definitely getting my steps in down there. Let's see. Do you think the Pacers would have taken Fox now than over Halliburton? Yeah, they would have. Absolutely. I mean, Halliburton, Fox would have been a proven commodity. But who cares? The teams both came away. Grant said it the best when this came up the other night, that if you asked both teams if they would make the same trade today and be satisfied with what they've gotten out of that trade, and they both would, and they'd say yes, that tells you something. So it's a moot point. I'm not really wanting to get too much into that. It's okay if the Kings don't win, but I want to see their full effort on display tonight. Yeah, Alberto, that's the thing, right? The big thing for me, right, is the effort. That's always been the big thing in Sacramento across the board. When the Kings were not a good basketball team, the one thing the fans here could count on was the effort. You knew it might be ugly, but they were going to give it everything that they had. And so that's why I think now when the team's good and you see games where the effort just isn't there, it's frustrating. That's where the boos come out so quick. But it's something that's very easy to control. And I think tonight there shouldn't be any excuses. I mean, you've got some fresh legs that are coming into this game. I mean, Keegan Murray returning to the lineup. And by the way, I neglected to mention Davion Mitchell. He is also out tonight with a non-COVID illness. He didn't even come to shoot around today. So no Davion Mitchell. Colby Jones will be available for Mike Brown since he's on a two-way with Stockton. So anyways, the effort tonight, it's got to be there. And I think it's one of those things, it's all or nothing. If you bring 50% effort, you're not even going to come close to touching this Denver team. So they know what they need to do. And that'll be one of those quick signs for you, Alberto, and everybody else watching the basketball game right there in the first quarter. If you see that loose balls aren't going their way, you see guys not making crisp cuts, not setting good screens, then yeah, it could be a long night for the Kings, who actually, by the way, are favored tonight. Think about that. The Kings, coming off of the loss to the Clippers, are favored tonight against Denver Nuggets. Last line I saw was 2.5 points. I think it was 2.5 or 3.5 points, but that's largely because of the back-to-back that Denver had. I mean, we talk about the tough back-to-back the Kings had between the Mavericks game, this last road trip, and then the New Orleans game. And you think about the back-to-back now that Denver has coming off of last night in Phoenix. That's a really hard back-to-back. Go Phoenix to Sacramento. And that was a competitive game in Phoenix. Denver pulled it out in the end, but they were playing some good basketball, especially knocking down shots in the first quarter. Rhino, I like the new thumbnail. Oh, yeah, thank you very much. That is one of our guys, or actually Grant's friend, that does the logo. So we thank him very much for that. Hello from the Philippines. Yes, indeed. 10:43 a.m. Light the beam. Let's go. Yes, indeed. And by the way, if you ever get over here to the States from the Philippines, there's one place you got to go besides the Kings game. Bennett's. You got to go check out Bennett's newest location, Bennett's West Side Grill in Rockland. Brian Bennett and his team have just done a spectacular job with their third location there in Rockland. Really, really cool bar. They've got a great dining room, also really cool private dining area, and then just a beautiful patio, which is a staple for most Bennett's locations. And on top of that, same old menu, same old amazing menu. Got amazing cuts of steak, seafood, prime burgers, anything you can think of, Bennett's pretty much has. And it's pretty affordable too, especially with different specials, whether it's happy hour, brunch mimosa specials, or the holiday dining to go. So they've always got something going on. Prime rib on the weekend. So see, I could talk all pregame show about Bennett's, but go check it out for yourself. It is one of our favorite places to go, and a lot of you have been there too. So we thank you so much for checking Bennett's out. And if you get in there, tell them that you heard about him here on If You Don't Like That. So thanks again for tuning in. This is the pregame show. I'm Ryan in Sacktown. Grant and Jerry will be here at halftime for the halftime show to break down the first half between the Nuggets and the Kings. Speaking of which, let's start getting some predictions from you guys on what you think the first half's going to look like. And even if you want to throw a first half score in, I'd love to kind of get your thoughts on that. But in the meantime, give us a thumbs up if you're enjoying what you're watching. And then also subscribe if you have not subscribed already. We would really appreciate it. A lot of good, fun content here on the Kings on If You Don't Like That. And then also some other great content. Sean Salisbury on Mondays, Grant and him talk football. So anyways, we're getting closer and closer to tip off Kings and Denver Nuggets tonight. Kings favored by, looks like somebody said 3.5 is what they are seeing. So, yeah. And hey, remember, the Clippers were favored in the last game against Sacramento. Everybody's like, how is that? And it's like, because it was the back-to-back. So, what's Denver going to do here? I don't have it in front of me, the postseason tournament. I don't think Denver made it into the quarterfinals of the postseason tournament. So this is, I believe it would be their last game before that whole thing kicks off. So, or they may have one more game Monday. They would have one more game. But there is a break in the schedule. So if the Kings would not have made it, they would have been off as well. So really nice that the Kings are going to be there. But what does Denver do tonight? Does Denver play their starters? Can the Kings get them to a point where, hey, look, it was the second night of a back-to-back. We're ready to go home. We're ready to pack it in because the Kings are up 20 in the third quarter. Is it that kind of night? Very well could be. But again, defending champions. I don't know about you guys. I am extremely excited about a matchup like this because these are the teams that the Kings need to beat, and not even need to beat, they need to be competitive with. These are teams that the Kings need to show they can belong on the same court with, and we see flashes of it. We all, to any of us, if you'd ask us, do you think the Kings could beat the Nuggets possibly in a 7-game series? Yes, possibly. They could beat them in a 7-game series, but these are the games that you want to see them be able to, take different things to a limit, adjust on the fly, show that they belong. And I think the Kings do that for the most part, but then they show many times that other teams should be on the court with them. And I'm saying teams that are not good, we could go down the list already this season. But yeah. Let's go Kings with you as well. Keith is saying he's going low scoring. He's saying Kings 59, Nuggets 56 first half. So that is interesting. I like it. Low scoring, maybe. The first quarter of the game in Phoenix last night against Denver, they were both filling it up pretty well. Drought 16 years, 68-59 half final. Kings 116-108. Wow. That would be a low scoring, but great night. Light in the beam if that happens. Baki, one of the experts here, bet on Denver. After I asked why, he said Kings players now have only no pels in their head. What do you think, Rido? No pels in their heads? Yeah, I don't get it. But no, I wouldn't bet at all. I wouldn't bet at all. I just cheer the team on. So, anyways, all right, Kings, Nuggets, getting ready to go. Grant and Jerry will be here at the half again. Please come back and see us at halftime. We will break down the first half for you. Hope you are enjoying the football games. If I'll give you a couple quick scores right now. Michigan at the half, 10-0 over Iowa. That means those Iowa Hawkeye fans at that local bar in Iowa are still drinking. I don't know if you guys heard about that. Free beer until Iowa scores a point tonight. So the fans there are bittersweet, I guess. So, and then Michigan, we just talked about Michigan, but Alabama knocked off Georgia earlier today as well. So get you some quick scores. Yeah, New Orleans Pelicans. I know. Okay. I was like, Pels in your heads. I was like, okay, yeah. I wasn't seeing it. So anyways, yeah, definitely be flipping between. I think it's going to be interesting about what the committee is going to do now that Alabama won. So I know that's what everybody's talking about. Never bet against Serbia. Okay, that's why. All right. Got it. It's going to be interesting with the college football committee and what they do. Texas, are they the ones out? I mean, what's it going to be? So I know we talk basketball and Kings here, and we light the beam and we have fun. We get Grant's rants and all that, and Jerry Reynolds, holy moly, Jim Bob Bullies, but might as well throw a little bit of that in, have fun. So, all right, guys, enjoy the first half. If you have enjoyed what you've seen so far, please give us a thumbs up again or as well. That helps with the algorithm. And then also subscribe if you haven't already. That way you can know when we are coming on air. But Grant and Jerry Reynolds will be here at halftime to break things down. Grant and I will take the post-game show home for you after the game ends. So looking forward to all that. Looking forward to seeing you all back here at halftime. I'm Ryan in Sacramento. Go Kings, light the beam, enjoy the first half. We will see you at halftime.